There is a moment that every entrepreneur eventually faces. It usually happens at 2 a.m. You are sitting in front of your computer. Your eyes are burning. You have 40 unread emails from clients. You have an employee who just quit. You have a tax bill due. And you realize, with a sinking feeling in your gut, you didn't build a business, you built a prison. And the warden is you. You started this to be free. You wanted to escape the 9-to-5, but you fell into the technician's trap. You traded a 40-hour workweek for an 80-hour workweek, earning less money per hour than you did at your job. Michael Gerber, the author of The E-Myth Revisited, calls this the fatal assumption. It is the belief that because you know how to do the work, bake the bread, write the code, consult the client, you know how to run a business that does that work. Those are two different universes, and confusing them is why 80% of small businesses fail within 5 years. They don't fail because of market conditions. They fail because the owner burns out. Today, on Wealth Architect, we are going to perform an intervention. We are going to deconstruct the E-Myth and give you the 7-step blueprint to transform your chaotic hustle into a Swiss watch machine that runs perfectly, whether you show up or not. If you are tired of being the bottleneck, this is your exit strategy. Welcome back. I'm Ben. We don't just make money here, we design freedom. Before we fix the machine, we have to diagnose where you are in the life cycle of a business. Gerber identifies 3 phases: infancy, adolescence, and maturity. Phase 1, infancy, the technician's phase. This is where you start. You are the boss, the employee, the janitor. It feels great at first. You have total control. You make the product perfect every time because you are doing it. But then success happens. You get more customers. You can't keep up. You start dropping balls. You are working 14 hours a day. The fun is gone. Infancy ends when you realize, I cannot do this alone. Phase 2, adolescence, the getting help phase. This is the most dangerous phase. This is where most of you are right now. You hire your first employee, maybe a sophisticated assistant or a junior technician. You say, thank God, Harry is here. He can handle the work. You dump the work on Harry. You practice management by abdication. You don't train him, you just hope he figures it out. Then Harry messes up, the client complains. And what do? You suffer an entrepreneurial seizure. You scream, nobody cares as much as I do. If you want it done right, do it yourself. You fire Harry. You take the work back. You retreat to infancy. Ideally, you shrink the business back to a size you can control alone. This is the comfort zone trap. You have capped your income and your impact forever. Phase 3, maturity, the architect's phase. A mature business is not determined by how old it is, but by how it started. A mature business starts with a different perspective. It starts with the question, how must this business work when it is finished? McDonald's was a mature business the day Ray Kroc opened the first franchise. He didn't build it to sell burgers, he built it to sell business systems. Today, we are going to force your business into maturity. To do this, you have to understand the civil war happening inside your brain. You are not one person, you are 3. Visual graphic of a triangle: technician, manager, entrepreneur. 1. The technician, the past. The technician is the doer. They live in the present, they love the feel of the work. To the technician, thinking is a waste of time. Let me just grind. The technician creates a job for themselves. Goal, to be busy. 2. The manager, the past, present. The manager is the pragmatic one. They crave order. They see the mess the technician makes and want to organize it. They create rows of filing cabinets. Goal, to be orderly. 3. The entrepreneur, the future. The entrepreneur is the dreamer. They live in the future. They see the business as a product. They create the vision that drives the chaos. Goal, to be free. The problem is balance. The typical small business owner is 70% technician, 20% manager, and 10% entrepreneur. You wake up and the technician says, we have to make the donuts. The manager says, we have to pay the bills. The entrepreneur is locked in the closet, screaming about vision, but nobody is listening. To win, you must suppress the technician. You must stop doing the work and start designing the way the work is done. This brings us to the core concept of the E-Myth, the franchise prototype. Now, listen carefully. I am not telling you to franchise your business. I am telling you to build your business as if you were going to franchise it. Look at the franchise model. It is the most successful business model in history. Why? Because it assumes that the operator has zero extraordinary skill. If you buy a McDonald's franchise, do they ask if you are a world-class chef? No. They hand you a manual. It tells you exactly how long to cook the fries: 3 minutes. at what temperature 350 degrees, and how to salt them one distinct shake. This allows McDonald's to deliver a consistent result using teenagers who don't care about cooking. The proprietary way: you need to stop selling the product, you need to start selling the business. Your business is a machine. Your job is to engineer the machine so that anyone can run it. If your business relies on you being a genius, you have failed. You cannot scale genius, you can only scale system. You must build a turnkey operation. The key is in the system, not the person. Okay Ben, nice theory. How do I actually do it? We use the 7-step business development process. This is your homework. 1. Your primary aim: life design. Before you touch the business, look at your life. What do you want your life to look like? How much money do you need? How many hours do you want to work? Who do you want to be? Your business is not your life. It is a vehicle to give you that life. If the vehicle is destroying the destination, get out of the car too. Your strategic objective: the destination. This is the business definition of done. I am building a $5 million revenue agency with 20% profit margins, serving the healthcare niche that runs without me. If you don't have a number, you are just wandering. 3. Your organizational strategy, the chart. This is the most powerful exercise. Draw an org chart for your company as it will look when it is finished. Boxes for CEO, VP Marketing, VP Operations, VP Finance. Under VP Ops put Production Manager. Under that, Technician. Now write your name in every single box, because right now you are doing all of them. But now you can see that doing the work technician is a separate job from balancing the books. VP Finance. Your goal is to systemize one box, hire a replacement, and scratch your name out, box by box. 4. Your management strategy, the system. Do not manage people. Manage the system. If you have to motivate your people every day, your system is broken. A good system produces results automatically. Example: instead of telling a salesperson to sell more, you give them a script, a lead list, and a quota. The system manages the output. 5. Your people strategy, the game. People want to play a game worth playing. Don't just hire employees, hire people to operate your system. Your job is to create the game, the vision, and the rules, the systems. Their job is to play. 6. Your marketing strategy, demographics and psychographics. Stop guessing. Who is your customer? Demographics. Why do they buy psychographics? Forget what you want. The technician sells what he wants to make. The entrepreneur sells what the customer wants to buy. 7. Your systems strategy, hard, soft, information. Hard systems, inanimate objects, the color of the office, the computer you use. Soft systems, living things, the sales script, the greeting. Information systems, data. How do you know if you won? KP is, I want to go deep on step 7. How do you actually create these systems without spending 100 hours writing manuals? I use the record and replace protocol. You pick a task you hate, let's say, invoicing. Record. The next time you do invoicing, turn on a screen recorder loom, talk through it. I click here, I check this date. If it's late, I click this button. Transcribe. Send that video to an AI tool or have them turn it into a step-by-step checklist. Refine. Give that checklist to someone who has never done it. Watch them try to do it. Where they get stuck, you fix the checklist. Replace once the checklist works. You hire a $10 hour VA to run the checklist. You have just moved that task from your technician box to a system box. You do this for email, for social media, for fulfillment. Eventually, the only thing left for you is strategy. Here is the hardest part. The part nobody talks about. To succeed as an architect, the technician must die. You have to give up the ego of being the one who does the work. You have to be okay with someone else doing it 80% as well as you, but doing it without your involvement. The 80% rule: if you can hire someone to do a task 80% as well as you, delegate it. The 20% loss in quality is the price you pay for your freedom. And usually, with a good system, they will eventually do it 110% as well as you, because they are focused on it and you are distracted. Building a business that runs without you is the ultimate act of maturity. It means you have built an asset, a legacy, something that has value independent of your heartbeat. We have covered a lot, from the technician's trap to the 7-step revolution. But information without action is just entertainment. Your homework. I want you to take the org chart challenge. Draw the future chart of your business. Identify the lowest value box you are currently stuck in. Is it janitor? Is it bookkeeper? Is it scheduler? Commit to systemizing that one box this week using the record and replace protocol. Tell me in the comments. I am firing myself from task name by next Friday. I read the comments. I want to see who is serious about freedom. If you're ready to stop being a busy technician and start being a wealth architect, subscribe to the channel. We are building the blueprints for the 1%. Hit the bell. Class dismissed.